There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone.
Welcome to episode 101 of Sci-Fi Talk on the Fangirl Zone, a podcast where we discuss shows on the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm Steve.
And I'm Sean Fangirl S, and tonight we'll be discussing episode 7 of season 3 of Killjoys. And joining us today, a special guest, all the way from the Nerd Element, we have Miss Kim. Hello! How are you, Kim?
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
We love having you on here. We love going back and forth with you about all of our shows.
I know, I love sci-fi. Sci-fi's getting good.
There's so many things coming. Now, if you guys have not seen yet, Steve posted up on our Facebook page, too, the second little sneak peek of, what was it? No End House. Channel Zero No End House.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
It looks so good. There's so many shows. I love it. Steve and I still have both managed to not watch any Sharknado, but basically everything else on Sci-Fi we've watched.
I don't watch Sharknado either.
Because nobody wrote in. Nobody wanted to punish Steve to watch all 5 Sharknadoes. Right. So apparently everybody really does love you, Steve.
They must, and I really do appreciate that.
Let me see. So a couple little news snippets before Steve jumps into our ratings. We are all bright and shiny and new over on fangirlzone.com, which is still the same one that we were on, but we moved over to WordPress. And speaking of Kim, she is trying to help me step by step because I'm a big doofus and I haven't figured it all out. But we are over there. And
no, you'll figure it out. It's good. It just takes a while.
And Steve and I have new email addresses, which we'll give you at the end. And Kim will give you all her information, too. So let's jump into Killjoys now. And Steve has our ratings news.
All right, episode 7 brought in a 0.19 in adults 18 to 49 with 0.644 million viewers, rating it the 29th overall cable show for the night. So good numbers once again.
Nice. 29th?
Yep.
Holy cow. That's a huge jump.
Yes, it is.
And, looks like 5+7 day has disappeared again.
Yep, another week without it, but we'll have it next week.
We will?
Yes.
Okay. Steve might just be adding, I don't know.
They've decided to maybe make it every couple of weeks or bi-monthly or something.
Really?
Yeah, our numbers this last week, so.
All right. Well, Steve, why don't you take us into episode 7?
All right. The Wolf You Feed. Desperate for an advantage, Dutch goes AWOL and risks a dangerous procedure that connects her to Anila's memories.
So overall, this was just kind of crazy, and I unfortunately didn't get to watch it live. And these two are like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So that I try to avoid everything, and then like I said, with these two, like saying it was crazy, and when I finally watched it, I tried not to blow up both of their phones with the holy crap. Because this Friday's episodes were amazing, all of them. And Kim and I were joking about the android on Dark Matter, and then I was dying with this and Winona, so it was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my gosh, yes, I forgot about Winona, yeah.
Yeah, you can't forget about that one. Yeah, like I said, I tweeted out to all the showrunners that was probably the greatest 3 hours of television for twists that I've ever seen. Because all 3 of the episodes just really brought it.
Yes.
Sure.
All right. So go ahead, Steve. Take us in now that I'm past my oh my god moment, which I'll probably have 12 more, but whatever.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're going to start off with I'm Just a Soldier. thinking that Johnny has mastered control of the ships. He watches in horror as the pilots lose control and eventually collide, killing 2 of their group. And you go, this is not going to go well.
I was not happy with this because I'm like, if they can't figure this out, what does that mean, obviously for the future of our pilots?
Exactly. And it was interesting that there's such a fine line between confidence and hubris, and Johnny may not have crossed it, but he sure came close.
But didn't Johnny figure it out pretty quickly?
He did, and the pilots didn't listen, they panicked.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can see that happening as they get closer and closer.
But...
Yeah. I guess when you're in that moment and you're panicking and you're basically getting really close to something and somebody, you're not going to pay attention. You're going to do exactly what they've been taught to do, which was kind of the opposite of what they needed to do.
Right, because Johnny told them, fly straight.
Well, hopefully they can get this all taken care of, because obviously we need these pilots and we need these ships, because Anila is crazy.
Yeah, so they realize that Davin is the only one that's able to fly the ships, and if that's the case, it's going to be a short war. And they have 34 ships, and they need 34 pilots, so they got to figure out something.
Oh, man. And then, with what's coming up, what we're about to talk about with Turin, I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm like, Turin, I thought, had realized, okay, we need everybody on board. And then this episode, the way he was acting, it's almost like we missed an entire episode of what was going on with him.
I feel the same way. I was like, what happened? I thought he came to an understanding the episode before because he realized he judged Fancy. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I really don't either, because, I mean, obviously we know they didn't part well, and Turin's like, I kind of screwed up. Yeah, well, understatement. But he sends Davin to go talk to him so they can try to figure out what they can do. Maybe they can have these pilots. So Davin has to go talk to the cleansed, I'm saying that in quotes, agents to bring them on board, but Fancy's kind of pissed, and he doesn't believe that the Rack is going to really have their back, that they've been kind of rounded up and beat up and everything else. But of course...
that happens again.
Yes. Of course, it couldn't be easy, right? We have Fancy encountering opposition. Okay, again, big surprise, because if you see your people being rounded up by the same people who are asking for help, Fancy wants to help because I think he still believes in Davin and ultimately for the cause. But when he suddenly finds that Turin is rounding up all of the cleansed agents for confinement and vetting, well, that isn't going to sit well, and all hell's about to break loose.
Yeah. Though he does make Davin promise to have his back.
I don't understand where Turin's head is in that moment, though.
I agree. I guess from a narrative standpoint, it makes sense, but you would think he's seen too much, and he knows that if they don't find pilots, they're as good as dead. So you would think he would say, okay, I might have some misgivings about the cleansed, but they're our only hope.
I mean,
I almost thought he was like taking orders from somebody else. Like, it didn't make sense with what he saw was happening. Like, it just didn't, I don't know. I don't see how he got from point A to point B.
Okay, I was just going to ask you what you had thought about that, because it did seem that way. And, I mean, nobody thinks he's been taken over, right?
Yeah, we assume that he's not Hoolan.
I mean, I'm just asking, since that seemed really random.
I didn't even think about that.
Just seemed really random.
Yeah, it did. It sounded like he jumped. I don't know. He jumped to a conclusion, but you would think that somebody put that in his head or something. Like, he just didn't come up with it all by himself. He's acting very, very desperate.
And Davin has to step up since Dutch decided to go AWOL right now. And so everybody's looking at him, but at the same time, everybody's waiting for Dutch to show up.
Right, and they're trying to decide, are we going to follow Davin if Dutch doesn't make it or not? And we see when he releases the former Hoolan agent that all the factions that are there fall in line and say, yes, we will follow Davin.
I was happy that happened, because they seen him as a real leader.
Right.
Because there was some real iffy moments. But the fact the fact that Fancy and his group seen that it wasn't Davin, that it was in fact Turin and him leading that, I'm hoping, small group of RAC agents that were kind of being douchebags. But I don't know, it was really tense for a while, and I'm glad that at least, everybody's like, okay, he's stepping up, he's a genuine guy, he's not being a jerk. We're gonna follow Davin at least.
He stood by his word.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
I think that is the most important.
Especially to the Farron and the Scarback.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize, and I feel again like I missed something. Like there was that many Scarbacks that were all ready to
join the fight. Yeah, that was something I didn't expect either.
Yeah.
I knew there was a group, but I didn't know how many, and I guess there's more than what I assumed, that's for sure.
I'm glad, because we need all the help we can get.
Yeah.
And they do make the point that if we turn on one another, all hope's lost. So we have to be together. Otherwise, we might as well just go our separate ways and kiss our asses goodbye, because that's ultimately what would happen.
And by the end of the episode, Dutch basically hands it over to him and tells him, I'm not the wolf you need.
Which
and you kind of go, what?
Yeah. It was one of those things that I'm like, oh crap, is she backing out? Did somehow everything work against what we were hoping? Like her getting these memories, which freaked me out when we find out the big reveal this episode. But is this actually going to totally break down everything inside of Dutch?
It was kind of odd because she it was very much about, I don't want to call her selfish, but it was very much about her at that point and not, hey, there's this impending doom on all of us.
Yeah.
She had to be like, I need to figure this out for me. I need to know what's going on. And then even when she came back, she was like, well, I'm not the one. And I'm like, really? Is this because of what you saw? Or is this I don't know.
Ultimately, I think it is more just not just what she saw, but her finding out. I don't want to jump to the big reveal, even though everybody's seen the show. But what the big reveal is, I think that's really conflicted because she doesn't know now how to fight Anila. And should she fight Anila?
Yes.
Steve, what do you think?
I'm thinking that we're going to see them standing side by side fighting against the Hoodlin.
What?
Yes, I truly do.
My gosh, my mind's blown.
Right? Tinfoil hat.
Oh, yes. Well,
I can see how you got there. Actually, I can see how you got there.
Right, because of the things that Klein told Anila, especially after, what was it? She killed all the human experiments because either it works perfectly or it kills them. And he basically tells Anila, you can't let her know, especially when she says, yeah, I communicate with the green. It talks back to me.
I kept wondering who her and she is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And most people kind of felt like, oh, well, he must be talking about Dutch.
That's what I was thinking. Then I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
No, Dutch wouldn't have any reason to have that information bother her at all. The only one that would find that problematic or more interesting is her mother, who has to be completely Hullen.
Oh, okay.
Because we never see her. Apparently, Klein took Anila away from the mother almost immediately. Because even Anila asks if mom's coming, and he basically says no.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I'm like, where is her mother?
This is going to be one of those crazy ones, and she's going to pop up at the end, isn't she?
Plus,
I think she's going to pop up before the end.
Okay.
I really do.
I think Anila's mad anyway, right? 'Cause she's ticked. They did they took her girlfriend and she went crazy. And I was
absolutely.
You know what? I'm on my own. Forget you. You're cool. Everybody else sucks. She basically did that. So I could totally see how you got there.
Yep. I definitely think she's about to turn on her own kind here.
Well, I guess we'll find out. But all right. before we delve too deep into the green ourselves, let's get back to Dutch. Dutch and Zep decide to have their little girls' night out. Let me tell you, I've never had a GNO like this, though.
No.
Yeah, Zep figures out, okay, we can put these memories into you so you can see what's going on. But you gotta be really calm and cool, otherwise it'll, like, merge with your brain and I don't know what to do. So that's not scary at all.
No. And Dutch actually, I mean, she would probably have problems with Johnny doing this. But she's all in with Zeph doing it.
Why do you think that is, though?
I think because Zeph it's like, well, it's not, I don't want to say cocky, but like, she's more concerned with like, oh, I can totally pull this off. I have an idea. I can pull this off and get the information. Whereas Johnny's like, should we get the information? We need to worry about like safety. And it's just like a sense of accomplishment with Zeph, so.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, Zeph does have that whole different kind of attitude, and it's not always good.
Exactly.
Especially when we find out that she ultimately locks Johnny out of Lucy. And it's like, wait, how did you lock him out, and why? Now, if something goes wrong, you are totally up the creek.
Exactly. And she even tells him that when he discovers that he's been totally locked out. He says, well, you're the last hope, Obi-Wan. But you got to be able to unlock everything first. So you've got 7 hours to do it.
Yeah, that's great. Because, you know, nothing can go wrong in 7 hours.
No.
So I just can't believe that Dutch, honestly, she's like, okay, this will give us the edge. It's totally fine. And it's like, it's too scary. But as we learn what's happening, I think it's weirder that we learn that the memories were, what did she say? It was like really close to her, but not exact, which that kind of starts to confuse me then.
Yeah, I was confused by this whole thing.
Well, yeah, their DNA is almost identical.
It's so odd. I don't understand what happened.
Yeah, that's what was confusing because of the reveal. Like, how is almost a thing here?
How does one just appear? Like, I just don't understand.
Well, alright, let's go back to the memories.
When we get to that part of the memory, I'll explain it.
Oh, okay.
Or at least try to.
Steve's got insight here. I think Steve gets a tinfoil hat of the day. Because, like, we haven't even gotten to all of it. I think he's just getting that. We should have that, like, badge so we can give that to anybody. You have the tinfoil hat of the day. So, yeah, Anila wasn't actually in the episode, but she was because it's all of her memories. And they are some of the weirdest memories because we get to see Klein again and Anila as, you know, her younger self and as a child. And it was really strange when you first see them on the beach and Anila's like, I'm running away because I'm sad. But looking up at, and I'm blanking on where the, wasn't the moon, it was the planet, right?
No, it was Arkin, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought Arkin, when we seen it previous episodes, there was like nothing close to it. So where the heck are they?
Well, they were on Koresh, I believe, as we find out that, yes, Klein is part of the 9.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I was like, what?
Right. And if you go back and you look at that and you go, okay, now if the 9 that we saw a couple of episodes ago were not going to put their money into this fight and they were just going to go run and hide and start somewhere else, and we find out later that Klein and his involvement with the family was completely erased. So I'm thinking this was a prearranged marriage that the families did because of Koreshi's problems on their planet, and they went ahead and set up this Klein getting together with Queen Hulan, and that's where all this started.
So ultimately, it was all their fault anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Families are all to blame for everything.
Well, whenever you have, and I'm going to say this again, like, quotes, royal families, because I'm assuming that's kind of what the 9 are here.
Right.
then you always have weird shit happening. And
Yes.
then they're like, oh, we're going to marry you off to this person and this family so we can not have war. And it doesn't always go well. I mean, if you look at our past, humanity's past as it is, with the way the royal families were, you can totally see that they're going to screw something up in the future with somebody who's got, like, superpowers. And it's like, oh, we're going to do this so they don't kill us all. Well, it doesn't mean that they'll have to kill you. They can just convert you or, like, steal your children away, something. I don't know. It was
Exactly.
not a good idea. I don't think they thought it through, but then again, we don't know what kind of choice they had either.
Right. Yes, especially if the Koresh were the, shall we say, the leaders of the 9.
Oh, yeah.
And they just made the deal and it took the others to write it out of the history.
That's interesting. And then what family took over ultimately for, like, Klein's line then?
Right.
So was there, like, a 9 and a remainder? I mean, what was going on here?
Yeah.
9 and a remainder.
You know, like, alternate royal house? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that there was another one that was fairly high up in the political steps that was bumped up to the royalty of the 9.
So in
Might have been
theory,
Del Sayas or Potter's family.
so in theory, Anila's one of the, like, she's from that family. So she's like,
So she is one
Right,
of the 9,
because
yeah.
Klein is her father, yes.
mm-hmm.
And I do want
dear.
to say, like, little Anila,
Mhm.
she is from Handmaid's Tale, if you watch that on Hulu. She plays June's daughter. So if you wondered where you've seen her face, if you watch The Handmaid's Tale, that is where you've seen her. Because the second I seen her, I'm like, oh, I know that face. So it was great. I love it when they all come together. All my shows, everywhere. But let's fast forward from little Anila, which Steve already talked about. We're going to say teenage Anila killing people.
Yeah.
Because that's so much better. To slightly older Anila, I'm going to say adult Anila at this point, being put into that perfect cube that we find. Which season was that? Or which first season when Dutch finds that weird cube? That
Yeah, I
she can
believe it
enter?
was in first, right.
And she's kind of being isolated, and it's for her reflection, so she understands and she can grow, which seems like exactly the opposite would happen. Klein putting her into this box in isolation, basically. And
But now, if you think about it, I'm going to give you a reason for this, too.
okay,
Because of the way the experiments were going, Klein got extremely concerned that Mama would find out what Anila knows about the green and want her for experiments to find out how she's able to do what she does.
oh,
So yeah, if you're being a protective father, you put her in a cube that she
put her in a
can't get
cube.
out and nobody can get in.
oh, see, I took
Nobody
that
can find her.
different.
Yeah.
I took the fact that
She was too dangerous.
yeah, that she was killing these subjects of the experiments, and that if she found out, again, we're assuming Mom, that she would be mad because she was going to expose them, not that Anila knew too much.
Right.
Ah, see, no wonder where that's going, because I guess we can only wait to see how that goes for the next episode.
Right. And she is brought up a lot. I'll just leave it at that.
I thought she was, I thought she was being punished. Like, well, punished and, like, hidden away from she, but also detoxing because she was like, she looked like a crack addict for a little bit there. Like, she was kind of going through withdrawal. And then you see what she does.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you gotta, like, you have to be hardcore addicted. Can you imagine?
No.
Like,
no.
just think about what she did. Like,
Yeah, because she does grab onto her, to Klein, and she's like, I need the green. It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, very, like, addict behavior there.
Right.
And then, I'm sorry, but just randomly you're gonna just have a tub hidden away. That was weird to me.
do you know how long you would have to do that?
Right. To get that much green out of your,
She was a crack addict.
well, that was, if the green talks back to her, that's probably her only friend.
Yeah, but that's a whole kind of commitment right there.
Yeah, it is messed up, but I believe that's what she's had to deal with, is she hasn't been able to really have friends.
The Holland don't seem like they're let's make friends type of people anyway.
No.
She's different. She is. She's different. She's got these like extremes that they don't seem to have. I don't know what it is.
That might be because if Klein is ultimately her real father and he was human, I'm just saying human because that's what we're assuming, and Mom was 100% Hulan, like they wouldn't necessarily know how to deal with the emotions. That's why I think back in the episode when they were on that planet with the training camp, they had to learn how to smile, and not just smile with their lips, with their eyes and their whole face, little things like that, which it can be hard. You work customer service long enough,
Exactly.
But it may be really that even though we've seen, and I'm going to say, emotions, that it's not really like true emotion. And that's why with being locked up for so long, which because we've seen that tub fill up, that had to be a really long time.
Yeah.
That she doesn't know how to deal with emotions because the only thing she can deal with is going back into memories. So she's basically looking at emotions from a child's point of view.
Right. And she probably didn't go through the training at the camp.
The weird 1950s camp.
Right. Yeah. To be able to, shall we say, harness those emotions as a teenager has to learn how to do. So yeah, she's acting like a spoiled teenager because she hasn't been taught any better.
Now I have to ask you two both, because she ultimately has a tub full of the green so she can communicate and take weird plasma baths. How is she not communicating with anyone else but only her memories? Is it because she's still in that cube?
I have this is where I start to get lost. I mean, and that's because I was looking at it and I was still stuck on the fact that she put a hole in her head to get that out. And I just was like, oh, Lordy. This girl is crazy. I mean, okay, but, Steve brings up a good point. Maybe she's not crazy. She just doesn't know how to deal with emotions, but she seems crazy. The way that she talks.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But I can
see. She didn't seem like that when she was a child, so I don't know what.
Well, she had interaction as a child. So I can see where Steve is coming from saying, she's kind of a spoiled kid because she is locked away with no communication. But, I mean, ultimately, is that what it is, Steve? Because she's in the cube, she can't go forward and talk to other people. It's only like what she's remembered.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't even have that until she drained all the plasma, or at least as much plasma to fill that tub, which that's a lot. And that was going to be her only other way to communicate with either her memories or whatever is communicating her in the plasma, or if it's the plasma itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I have to say this too, because we seen the moment before the plasma bathtub started. There was a peach, and Klein does say, where did that come from? And
right.
She got kind of smart
Who's
ass.
been here?
Yeah. Oh, I have friends. Like, really?
Yeah.
Hey, crazy lady. But where the hell did the peach come from?
You pulled it out of a bathtub.
It's a plasma peach?
More than likely it is.
Oh god, that's even weirder.
I was joking, but I really have no idea. Because this is where I lose it.
Okay.
This is where I get completely lost.
Alright, we're gonna let the one person of us that has a better grasp of this episode go ahead and take us into that. Because, yeah, I started going, what? So, Steve, that would be you.
Alright, as she submerges herself into the plasma, and she goes back to a memory of her before she became a bad wolf. She finds herself, and because she has had all this time alone to try to figure out why her father has locked her away like this, it means one thing. I'm such a horrible person, I can't be allowed to be out in the universe. So in order to try to come up with a solution to fix this and at least give her father something that he can be proud of, she basically brings that part of herself pre-knowing anything, so good, and brings it out of the plasma with her.
That was
So
so
she
weird.
actually creates herself from at that point in the plasma and comes out.
Oh, get it.
That was so weird. And apparently she is the only Hulin or person, whatever, that can do that.
Yes.
She pulled out her own memory, which that's why I was wondering about that peach. Because yes, this is that ultimate moment where now we know why Dutch looks like Anila, because she basically is Anila.
Is. Yes.
It's just slightly different because she is not like batshit crazy Anila.
Awkward.
How is this not some sort of paradox?
Right? Time should be
Well,
folding in on
you
itself.
will find out. We kind of get the answer in the next episode
Okay.
as to why it's not completely a paradox.
In case you couldn't guess, Steve's ahead of Kim and I.
Right.
It's just gotta be like a kick in the face, like, oh, well, I am a thought.
Right.
I'm like, oh. And all
And
this
then,
stuff
of
Dutch
course,
does. She's
flash
the good one.
to where Anila tells her father that she's done something bad, and
Yeah.
there she is, and you go, oh boy.
How did she get out?
She used young Anila to get out.
I thought it was just coded to her. That's so weird. I don't get it. Ah, God.
It is. And you'll understand after you see next week's episode. It will make sense.
Eventually things will make sense. All right.
Yeah.
I don't see how.
Well, I mean, I think she mentioned that she needed her to get out because I had an understanding of that's how she got out because she used the younger one. I didn't stop to think about why that didn't make sense because there were too many other things that I had
that you
questions
couldn't figure
about.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, this was
But
one
I
of
think
the
they
head
did
scratchers.
mention it.
Yeah. Oh.
It gave me a headache. I was like, I need to watch that. Like, I did watch it. I watched that part again. I was like, what? Didn't help.
No, I felt like this got weird though because okay, if this is supposed to be the good wolf, why is Klein like basically teaching her to become an assassin?
That's what I was like, she's a good wolf. Dutch, all the stuff that she's done. Okay.
Well, you got to think about it. If he teaches her to be able to, to be as bad as an assassin without being an assassin, she is able to protect herself at all costs. Because if she finds out what's going on, she is going to want both Anila and Dutch.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna be mad.
Okay.
I'd be mad.
Okay, that makes sense. I get that.
Right. So this was his way of teaching her how to protect herself
Okay. Well,
and not be completely
lost.
unable to.
Well, we do have Dutch end up getting lost in her memories then because after that huge reveal, which I was immediately texting Steve and I'm like, oh my God, the baby thing. And then I had to clarify to make sure he didn't think I had watched Winona and that maybe something was with the baby there. So I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. But after this happened and she gets lost in her own memories back when she was a child and she was in her harem, which who the hell did he pay off to, be like, yes, this person has always been here in your harem. But then we jump to her wedding night and she's lost in those memories and she's like, well, she cuts Zeph. Thankfully she didn't cut her throat because that would have been awkward when she came back around. But,
Right.
but she's like in her
Kind of a
memory,
PT cut.
right? In her memory, standing over her dead husband, Klein comes in. Is it ultimately that she actually did not kill that husband?
Right.
Okay, because that's what I had taken out of it, and I wasn't sure.
Right. No, she did not kill her husband. Actually, Klein did, but
Okay, that's what I thought, but
Yeah, he was standing there with a knife.
then I thought, okay, did I miss something? Did he pick up the knife and he was like trying to save her, or what? I was getting confused again.
right.
I need a better timeline.
Yeah, I believe Klein actually found out something about that family that she was about to marry into that made it very apparent to her that it would put Dutch in danger, so he kind of took care of it.
I gotcha. Oh, but we get to find out how Johnny and Dutch met. It's not awkward or anything.
Oh, no. You just gotta love Guy Liner Johnny, though.
Oh, God. Did he not look like he was from, like, some punk band?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
I love this stuff. And apparently, our little gentleman, Johnny, was in fact a thief.
Yes.
I was surprised. I had no idea, and I still love, though, him talking to Lucy.
Yes, that was awesome.
When he's like, thief. Or no, what was he saying? Ship, can you disconnect this? And she's like, thief, no.
Yeah.
I was like, I love Lucy, and I love the fact that he's like, I'm going to disconnect that attitude as soon as I get control, and he never did, and I think that was probably the best thing that has ever happened. They had some great lines, and I know I was texting Steve them, and I do not have them all, but I do have to say, and I know this is backing up like a what shit, now I'm going to forget, like, I'm not the tit calmer, or tit whisperer, and I was
yeah, that's what happens.
I was dying with this episode, and I have to say kudos again to the SYFY writers, because this week you guys had me rolling between Android going on about boobs, and essentially Dobbin the same way, but in a whole different way. I was like, I can't believe this is happening, because these are the best lines ever. And I wanted to write down some, and I didn't do it.
Even better.
Oh, God.
This week's episode is even better. Oh, it goes way out there.
I'm definitely going to have to take notes this time, because there were so many great ones. I should just have them scroll on the top of our website. So, how is it that you think Johnny quickly figured out Zeph's disabled program, or however you want to say it?
Well, he actually, sits and kind of tells himself to, you can't think like you got to think like her. And then he says, just make it look like this. And, oh, there it is. It was biology and not technology.
Okay. Yeah, because it did seem really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really motivated too. I don't think he likes losing to her.
And
no.
How is it that you think he figured out exactly where Dutch was going to go?
Because when he gets to Zeph, and she basically tells him that she's lost in one of her own memories, he kind of figures that if she's back on Lucy, that more than likely it's when they met.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know Lucy's was. I always assumed that ship was given to them from Iraq.
Right.
Yeah, so did I.
No.
I did not know. I was like, really?
Yeah, that was another amazing bit of information they just dropped on us. And of course, because Johnny knew how it played out, he was able to be prepared with the jacket.
Yeah, that was a smart move. But then again, it makes me wonder, how did he survive the first time? Or was she a really big shot then?
Or it just wasn't on kill either.
Oh, okay. But I love the fact that basically the shock of shooting Johnny is what brought her back to the now.
Right.
Because all of a sudden it's like I don't know, I feel like the memory is the subconscious, but her now subconscious? I don't know, that doesn't make sense, but you guys know what I mean. Is what made her realize, oh shit, I just shot Johnny.
Right.
And brings her back into the now, and she's okay. And Johnny thankfully is okay, because he didn't even finish that sentence, and I yelled because she shot him. I'm like, oh, no!
Yeah.
No, I'm not ready for this.
I was still back on the tub, so I was like, wait, everything's happening way too fast for me. I need to, contemplate this. And I was like, did she just, get lost in her own thoughts because her mind was retreating because she just found out she was a thought? I was like, did she go to her happy place? But that's not happy. I just feel like she, her, mind was like, you know what? This is too much to process.
It is.
We're just going to go here, because that's how I felt. So I can't imagine how she would feel. It was a lot.
It was a lot to take in this episode, with this weird back and forth and the memories almost attaching. And then I feel like that would have drove Dutch completely crazy.
Right.
But
and of course, Dutch originally thinks that Anila's her mother. And of course, Zeph definitely halts that reasoning, telling her that it's not scientifically possible because Hulan can't breed and need human hosts.
Then how could her mom be all...
Well, her mom can't be all Hulan, that's for sure, but she's probably more Hulan than anybody else.
Maybe her mom's like the Hulan queen.
Right, I think so.
Hulan Prime, and she's the only one that was able to ever breed and nobody beyond that. That was my tinfoil hat theory of the day. Thank you.
Right, there you go. Very nice.
Could be, I mean, because she has remarkable powers herself, right?
Oh my god. Okay, so this is just crazy, and there was a lot of back and forth. And obviously, Kim and I still have a lot of questions. Steve, being slightly ahead of us, seems to know more, but I don't know. This was just insane. And I don't think we're ever going to be able to answer all these questions, even watching like the whole season and then coming back to this. I feel like it's one of those that there's still going to be those question marks like we have with some of our other shows.
Absolutely.
Orphan Black, but whatever. Oh, God. Okay, guys. Like I said, Davin had great lines, and I wish I'd remembered more of them. But is there any one moment that really stuck out that you're not just a big question mark about? Kim?
That I'm not a big question mark? Oh, no, I don't. I have a big question mark over the whole thing. I mean, it was just like this episode. Like, this episode was full of questions, like, from why, like, somebody can appear out of thin air to why, like, Fancy was turned on by Turin. Like, why? Everything is just a why for me right now.
Steve?
I think the biggest thing that I'm still not completely buying is Dutch basically telling Davin, it's your war. I'm not the wolf you need.
Yeah, that was more upsetting than anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's not Dutch.
Disappointing.
And so I don't know if she said that because she's still trying to process what she saw, especially after finding out that Anila can't be her, isn't her mother. And somehow she's got to figure out what the heck happened and how she came to be. Or is it that she's already figured that out and so this changes everything?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. And I kind of think it's the latter, to tell you the truth. But I think it's going to head in a completely different direction than what we originally think.
Oh, jeez. I can't handle this. All right, guys. This was a crazy episode, and we hope that you are enjoying it the same as we are and got your tinfoil hats on to figure out what it is. So, you guys know where you can find us always at fangirlzone.com. And like I said, Steve and I have new email addresses. It's Shawn, it's SHAWN, because I know that's spelled several different ways, at fangirlzone.com. Steve is STEVE at fangirlzone.com. And you can always tweet with us at FGZ Podcast. And of course, if you tweet, we ask you to hashtag Dark Matter, Renew Dark Matter, Killjoys. Dark Matter too, because we have to do that, but hashtag Renew Killjoys. I'll get it together. It's been a long day. And of course, if you're tweeting, you might as well tweet along with our guest because she's always on there too. Kim, why don't you tell them where they're finding you at?
Well, I think it's actually Natasha who live tweets Killjoys, but she would do it at TNE_sci fantasy.
And then Kim is the Nerd Element.
Well, you can find us at all of our Twitter handles are at the Nerd Element. That's the main one, so I should have all of them listed there. And www.thenerdelement.com. Oops, I forgot to say that, sorry.
So, for this episode of Sci-Fi Talk, I'm Shawn Fangirl S.
And I'm Steve. Don't think like you, Johnny. Think Zep. Preppy. Obnoxious. Obsessed with being right. That tech-hating bio snob.
And until next time.